Today marks 25 years since Princess Diana was tragically killed in a car crash in Paris. Well, this morning, people are gathered outside the former home in London, Kensington Palace, to pay their respects. As they do every year, they are honoring the memory of the people's princess. Holly Williams looks back at Diana's enduring legacy and spoke with one of the last people to talk with her before the accident.
For years, people have been curious about the true story behind Princess Diana's death. Diana lived her life under intense public scrutiny and died suddenly in a high-speed car crash in Paris while trying to escape photographers. Now, decades after her death, Prince Harry, Kate Middleton, and Queen Camilla made an insane announcement. These revelations not only offer a deeper look into Diana's personal life, but also confirm some of the suspicions surrounding her death.
This week, we're starting with Prince Harry. Just yesterday, the Duke of Sussex spoke at an event hosted by the charity The Diana Award. Take a look at what he had to say about his late mother.
In this video, we will discuss these new revelations and what they mean. But before that, let's talk about how we got here. Early life. Princess Diana, also known as Diana, Princess of Wales, was the first wife of Prince Charles, the future King of the United Kingdom, and the mother of Prince William and Prince Harry. Born Diana Frances Spencer on July 1, 1961, near Sandringham, England, she became Lady Diana Spencer in 1975 when her father inherited the title of Earl Spencer. Diana was the daughter of Edward John Spencer, Viscount Althorp, and Frances Ruth Burke Roche, who later became known as the Honorable Frances Shand Kidd. She had two older sisters, Jane Fellows and Sarah McCorquodale, and a younger brother, Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer. Another brother, John, died shortly after birth, a year before Diana was born. Her grandmothers, Cynthia Spencer and Ruth Roche, were both ladies-in-waiting to Queen Mother Elizabeth. Diana's early life was marked by her parents' turbulent marriage, which ended in divorce when she was young. The strain on their relationship was partly due to pressure to produce a male heir before her brother Charles was born. Diana's father won custody of the children after the divorce, and later married Rayne, Countess of Dartmouth, with whom Diana had a difficult relationship. She described her childhood as very unhappy and very unstable. Diana attended Riddlesworth Hall School and later Westheath School. Although she was shy, she showed an interest in music and dancing. After finishing school at Institut Alpin Vida Manette in Switzerland, she moved to London and worked with children, eventually becoming an assistant at Young England Kindergarten. Diana's love for children was evident in her work and personal interests. Diana first met Prince Charles in 1977 when he was dating her older sister Sarah. They reconnected in the summer of 1980 at a mutual friend's house, where Charles began to see her as a potential bride. Despite a 13-year age difference, the couple began dating, and their relationship quickly attracted media attention. The public was fascinated by the pairing of the reserved prince and the shy young woman who loved fashion and popular culture. But soon after that, Diana and Charles got engaged within a few months of dating. Charles proposed on February 6, 1981, with a unique 18-karat white gold ring featuring a 12-karat oval Ceylon sapphire surrounded by 14 solitaire diamonds. The ring was inspired by a brooch Prince Albert had created for Queen Victoria in 1840. The engagement drew significant media attention. In an interview, Diana had claimed that the couple were in love. However, Charles was not on the same page. Whatever in love means, a phrase that caused some confusion and curiosity. Diana married Charles on July 29, 1981, at St. Paul's Cathedral in a ceremony watched by nearly 1 billion people worldwide. Diana wore a silk taffeta wedding dress adorned with antique lace and 10,000 pearls, created by designers David and Elizabeth Emanuel. She also wore an 18th century Spencer family tiara with a 25-foot veil. The wedding was dubbed the Wedding of the Century. After their grand wedding, Diana became Princess of Wales and began her life as a member of the British royal family, While she initially felt overwhelmed by her royal duties and the constant media scrutiny, Diana gradually carved out her own role, becoming known for her charitable work and compassionate nature. She was particularly passionate about helping the homeless, people with HIV and AIDS, and children in need. Diana's life was one of public adoration and personal challenges as she navigated her role in the royal family and pursued her own interests and passions. The death. Everyone who knew Princess Diana, personally or not, loved her. Her beauty and sweet personality made people all around the world fans of the crown. But one fateful day, everything changed. On the night of August 31st, 1997, something terrible happened that many people will never forget. Princess Diana, a woman loved by millions around the world for her kindness and work for good causes, died in a car crash in Paris. She was only 36 years old. The crash killed Princess Diana and her boyfriend Dodi Al-Fayed, along with their driver Henri Paul. According to some sources, the crash was the fault of the driver who was drunk and was speeding away from the chasing paparazzi. Dodi Al-Fayed was the son of a very rich man named Mohammed Al-Fayed. Dodi dated Diana years after her divorce from Prince Charles. The couple had spent the evening together and were trying to get away from all the attention that surrounded them. That night, Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed had been at the Ritz Hotel in Paris, and like always, the paparazzi were trying to take pictures of the couple together. Earlier that day, they had enjoyed some time together on a boat, relaxing on the French Riviera. But when they returned to Paris, they were once again followed by the paparazzi. This constant attention from photographers made their lives difficult. The story behind her death. On the evening of August 30th, Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed had dinner at a luxurious restaurant inside the Ritz Hotel in Paris. After finishing their meal, they decided it was time to leave. Aware that many photographers were waiting at the hotel's front entrance, they chose to exit through the back door, hoping to avoid being followed. However, the paparazzi discovered their plan and pursued them as soon as they left. Diana and Dodi got into a black Mercedes-Benz driven by Henri Paul, a staff member at the Ritz. Also in the car was their bodyguard, Trevor Rees-Jones. They wanted to leave quickly and get to Dodi's apartment, which was nearby, to escape the photographers. But the paparazzi were relentless, chasing the car on motorcycles and in other vehicles, determined to capture photos of Diana and Dodi. As the car sped through the streets of Paris, Henri Paul tried to evade the photographers by driving faster and taking different routes. The situation became increasingly dangerous as the car moved quickly through the city. Eventually, they entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, where the tragedy occurred. Inside the tunnel, Henri Paul lost control of the car, which then crashed into a pillar at high speed. The crash was catastrophic. The front of the car was severely damaged, and the passengers inside were critically injured. Emergency services arrived quickly and tried to help. Dodi Fayed and Henri Paul were pronounced dead at the scene. Princess Diana was still alive, but in critical condition, and was rushed to a nearby hospital. Despite the doctor's best efforts, she passed away a few hours later from her injuries. The only survivor of the crash was the bodyguard, Trevor Rees-Jones, though he was seriously injured. The news of Princess Diana's death spread rapidly, leaving people worldwide in shock and mourning. Many found it hard to believe that someone as cherished as Diana could be taken so suddenly. She was laid to rest at her family's estate, Althorpe, in Northamptonshire, England. Her grave is located on a small island in the middle of a lake. Her family wanted this place to be a peaceful resting place, away from the public eye. Even though Diana was no longer with them, her legacy lived on. Her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, have continued her charitable work in many ways, carrying on the causes that were important to their mother. Princess Diana's death was a tragic and sudden event that changed many lives. It showed the dangers of the intense media attention that surrounded her life, as well as the impact she had on so many people. Even today, many years later, people still remember Princess Diana with love and respect. Since her death, there have been tons of rumors of what really happened in that tunnel, but none of these rumors were confirmed. This meant that nobody knew what exactly happened that fateful night. Conspiracy theories about Diana's death. After Princess Diana's death, the crash was initially seen as a tragic accident caused by the driver's drinking and the paparazzi chasing the car. However, over time, some people began to think there might be more to the story. They wondered if the crash had been planned, and even suspected that powerful individuals, possibly linked to the royal family, might have been involved. These conspiracy theories gained traction partly because of a letter written by Princess Diana herself in 1995, 2 years before her death. In this letter, Diana expressed fears for her safety and suggested that her husband, Prince Charles, was planning a staged car accident to harm her. When this letter became public, many were shocked and started to question whether Diana's death was truly an accident. Despite these suspicions, official investigations concluded that the crash was accidental. However, conspiracy theories continued to persist and even grew stronger over time. Many people were not satisfied with the explanation that the crash was simply an accident. Mohammed Al-Fayed, father of Dodi Fayed, has been a vocal proponent of conspiracy theories. He claimed that Diana and Dodi were murdered by British intelligence, possibly under the orders of Prince Philip, to prevent Diana from marrying a Muslim and having his child. Al-Fayed claimed that Diana was pregnant and the couple was about to get engaged. Some have suggested that Henri Paul, the driver, was an agent of British or French intelligence, and that his intoxication was exaggerated or staged. The absence of CCTV footage of the crash and the chaotic circumstances leading to Diana's death also fueled speculation. Theories range from faulty camera operations to deliberate tampering. There were 16 cameras in the tunnel, and none of them seemed to be working. One popular theory is the claim of a bright flash before the crash. Several witnesses, including Francois Levistre and American tourist Brian Anderson, reported seeing a flash of light as Diana's car entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Levistre stated he saw the flash in his rearview mirror, suggesting it may have blinded the driver. However, inconsistencies in Levistre's accounts and a conviction for dishonesty in 1989 cast doubt on his credibility. Additionally, his then-wife contradicted his testimony, and other witnesses made no mention of such a flash. A detailed crash reconstruction found no evidence of a flash, concluding that the car's loss of control occurred well before reaching the tunnel. Another theory revolves around Diana's seatbelt. Some believe that the fact Diana wasn't wearing a seatbelt, despite being known to use one regularly, raises suspicions of sabotage. The timing of the ambulance transporting Diana also fueled speculation. The ambulance took about 26 minutes to reach the hospital, leading some to suggest deliberate delays. Lastly, in 2013, an ex-SAS soldier, referred to as Soldier N, claimed that the SAS was involved in orchestrating Diana's death. This allegation arose during the court-martial of another SAS member. In response to these ongoing concerns, the United Kingdom launched its own investigation called Operation Paget. This investigation, led by the British police, started in 2004, about 7 years after the crash. It aimed to explore all the conspiracy theories that had emerged since Diana's death in 1997. The investigation examined all available evidence, including Diana's letter, the events leading up to the crash, and the actions of those involved. In 2006, Operation Paget's findings were released. The investigation concluded there was no evidence to support the conspiracy theories. Like the earlier French investigation, it found that the crash was caused by the driver, Henri Paul, who had been drinking and driving too fast. Operation Paget found no evidence of a plan to murder Princess Diana and concluded that the crash was a tragic accident. Despite these findings, some people continued to believe in the conspiracy theories, pointing to Diana's letter as evidence that she feared something bad would happen to her. Her butler reveals all. Princess Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell, also contributed to the ongoing interest in her private life. After her death in 1997, Burrell revealed many personal details about Diana, offering a deeper understanding of who she was away from the public eye. Having worked closely with her since 1987, Burrell was one of Diana's most trusted staff members. She referred to him as her rock, showing how much she relied on him during her most challenging times. Burrell's revelations shed light on Diana's feelings of loneliness and isolation. Despite being one of the most famous women in the world, she often felt she couldn't trust those around her. This sense of isolation contributed to her struggles with bulimia, an eating disorder she developed as she dealt with personal and public pressures. Burrell also revealed details about Diana's troubled marriage to Prince Charles. Although their 1981 wedding was a globally celebrated event, their marriage was far from perfect. Behind the scenes, Diana faced many difficulties, which Burrell shared with the public, giving insight into the challenges she endured in her private life. She knew that Prince Charles had a close relationship with another woman, Camilla Parker Bowles, and this caused her a lot of pain. Diana once famously said in an interview that there were 3 of us in this marriage, referring to Charles, Camilla, and herself. Paul's revelations gave even more insight into how deeply this situation affected Diana. She also had periods of deep sadness, and at times, she felt overwhelmed by everything that was happening around her. Diana had a deep sense of compassion and empathy, and she was always looking for ways to help those who were less fortunate. She often did these things without any cameras or publicity, because she genuinely wanted to make a difference. After her separation from Prince Charles, Diana worked hard to create her own path and find her own voice within the constraints of the royal family. Although it wasn't easy, she was committed to making a positive impact on the world. He admired her resilience and frequently spoke about how strong she remained, even in difficult times. Diana's role as a mother was another significant aspect of her life that Paul shared. Paul often talked about how much Diana loved her sons and how she tried to shield them from the pressures of royal life. She wanted them to have as normal a childhood as possible, despite growing up in the public eye. Diana took her role as a mother very seriously, going to great lengths to spend quality time with her boys and ensure their happiness. One touching story Paul shared was how Diana would secretly leave the palace to spend time with William and Harry. Even with her busy schedule and constant public attention, she always made time for her sons, often planning secret outings with Paul's help. After Diana's death in 1997, Paul Burrell wrote a book titled A Royal Duty, released in 2003, where he shared many of these private stories. The book sparked controversy, as some people felt Paul should not have disclosed such personal details about Diana, while others appreciated the deeper insight it provided into her life. Paul defended his decision to write the book, saying he wanted the world to know the truth about Diana's life and challenges. He believed sharing these stories honored her memory and helped people understand the real person behind the public image. In his book, Paul also discussed the time after Diana's death, describing how difficult it was for him to cope with losing someone he was so close to. He felt a duty to protect Diana's memory and ensure that the truth about her life was not forgotten. His revelations gave people a deeper understanding of Diana, showing that despite her status as a global icon, she was a human being who faced many of the same struggles as everyone else. Paul's decision to reveal details about Diana's private life highlighted the complex relationship between the royal family and those who worked for them. After the book was published, there was significant debate over whether Paul had betrayed Diana's trust by sharing these personal stories. Some members of the royal family were unhappy with the book, and there were even legal issues regarding some of its content. However, Paul insisted he wrote the book out of love and respect for Diana, and wanted to ensure her true story was told. Despite his intentions, not everyone received Paul's revelations well. Some saw his actions as an attempt to profit from his connection to her. For some, hearing Paul's revelations about her private life was like reopening a wound. The media was very interested in what Paul had to say. TV shows, newspapers, and magazines covered his stories in detail, and people everywhere were talking about what Paul had revealed. For a lot of people, Paul's revelations seemed to confirm their belief that there was more to Diana's death than what had been reported. Paul had shared stories about Diana expressing concerns for her safety. These details made some people wonder if there was indeed something more sinister behind her death. Because of this, there were renewed calls for further investigation. Some advocacy groups and members of the public began pushing for the evidence to be re-examined, hoping to uncover the full truth about what happened the night Diana died. But not everyone was convinced that Paul's stories proved anything. There were people who believed that the official investigation had already given the correct answers, and they questioned whether Paul's stories were adding anything new. These people felt that Paul was lying about his closeness to Diana, and that he might be creating drama where there was none. This disagreement created a lot of discussion and debate among the public and in the media. Despite these different opinions, Paul's revelations had a big impact. Princess Diana had always fascinated people, and Paul's stories only added to that interest. Paul's revelations likely caused some tension within the family, because it brought attention to issues that they would have preferred to keep private. The impact on Diana's sons. Princess Diana's sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, were deeply affected by the public discussions about their mother. They were very young when she passed away, and have spent many years dealing with their grief. Despite the passage of time, public and media interest in Princess Diana has never completely faded. In recent years, Prince Harry has opened up about his own struggles, especially the impact of his mother's death. In his memoir, Spare, released on January 10, 2023, Harry shares personal stories about his life, his relationships with his family, and the events that led him and his wife Meghan Markle to step back from their royal duties and leave the UK. Spare gives an inside look at Harry's life, exploring his feelings of being an outsider in his own family and the challenges he faced growing up in the royal spotlight. The title of the book refers to the saying that a royal family needs an heir and a spare, highlighting Harry's sense of not fitting in. The book covers many topics, including Harry's childhood, the profound effect of Princess Diana's death, his experiences in the British Army, and his complicated relationships with his brother Prince William and his father, King Charles III. The book also touches on his father's later marriage to Queen Camilla and Harry's own marriage to Meghan Markle, an American actress and non-royal, which marked the beginning of tension. The couple's decision to step back from their royal duties added further complexity to the situation. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have released a statement saying, "We intend to step back as senior members of the royal family." The release of Spare was highly anticipated and generated significant media attention. The memoir received mixed reviews. Some praised Harry's openness, while others felt there were too many personal details. Despite the divided opinions, Spare made history, becoming the fastest-selling non-fiction book of all time. In the summer of 2021, Harry explained that he wrote the memoir not as a prince, but as the man he had become. The Duke of Sussex shared in a statement, "I'm writing this, not as the prince I was born, but as the man I have become," adding that his story will include the highs and lows, the mistakes, the lessons learned. He hoped to show that despite our backgrounds, we have more in common than we might think, underscoring the idea that even the wealthy face struggles. In January 2023, it was reported by The Times that Harry had second thoughts about publishing the book after visiting his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. However, he eventually decided to move forward with the publication. In Spare, Harry addresses and refutes the rumors that his biological father was not Charles, but one of his mother's lovers, James Hewitt. Prince Harry is addressing those rumors about his real father. For decades, there has been speculation that Princess Diana's former lover, James Hewitt, is the 38-year-old's dad, not King Charles III. He believes the rumor was partly fueled by Major Hewitt's red hair and the tabloid's desire for drama. Harry recounts that his father, Charles, once joked about a rumor regarding Harry's parentage, which he found to be in poor taste. He also describes the moment his father informed him of his mother's death when he was just 12 years old. Harry reveals that he was horrified at the idea of him and William walking behind their mother's coffin, a sentiment shared by their uncle Charles Spencer. Harry insisted on joining William in the procession, believing his brother would have done the same if their roles were reversed. For many years, Harry believed that his mother had gone into hiding to escape the press, a belief that his brother William also shared. He criticizes the official investigation into Princess Diana's death, questioning why the paparazzi involved were not held accountable. Harry and William once considered issuing a joint statement to call for a reopened investigation, but were persuaded against it. During a trip to Paris in 2007, Harry had a driver take him through the same tunnel where his mother died, at the same speed. He later regretted this decision, as it only brought him more pain. In his quest to connect with his mother, he admits to seeking help from a woman who claims to have psychic abilities. Harry also opens up about his past drug use, revealing that he tried cocaine at 17 and took magic mushrooms at a party in 2016, which led to hallucinations. Regarding his military service, Harry discusses his time in Afghanistan, where he flew on missions that resulted in the deaths of 25 Taliban members. He admits he did not view them as people, but as chess pieces on a board, and that the killings brought him neither satisfaction nor shame. Harry also discusses his strained relationship with his father, Charles, and his stepmother, Camilla. He and William had agreed to accept Camilla into the family because Charles would not marry her. However, when Charles decided to marry Camilla, Harry recognized that his father was simply following his heart. He accused Camilla of leaking private conversations to the press to improve her public image, and claimed that both Charles and Camilla leaked details of his drug use to gain sympathy and boost their own reputations. Harry further claimed that William felt tremendous guilt for not speaking up about their father's affair with Camilla, leading to feelings of confusion and torment for William. Harry also accused Camilla of playing a role in his mother's death, believing she was pivotal in the disintegration of his parents' marriage. Despite these feelings, Harry acknowledges that his father found happiness after marrying Camilla, and he wanted both him and Camilla to be happy, even wondering if she was less dangerous when happy. In the book, Harry reveals that his role as William's best man during the 2011 wedding was not entirely accurate, as James Mead and Thomas Van Straubenzee gave the wedding reception speech. Harry felt this was the right decision, as he feared he might say something inappropriate. Harry also shared some candid moments leading up to his relationship with Meghan Markle. On the day of their first date, he was on a boat for a racing competition without a toilet, which led to him wetting his pants. He admits to regretting looking up Meghan's sex scenes from her show suits, saying he now wishes he hadn't done it. Harry reveals that during an argument with Meghan, he became very angry, prompting Meghan to tell him she wouldn't tolerate such behavior and suggesting he needed therapy. However, Harry believes their mother had a hand in bringing Meghan into his life. Harry recounts 2 signs he saw before learning Meghan was pregnant. First, Meghan sang to a group of seals, which he claims sang back. Second, Meghan took 2 at-home pregnancy tests and placed them on his bedside table. When they confirmed the pregnancy, he expressed gratitude, hoping his late mother had a hand in the good news. The couple announced their pregnancy to the family on the day of Princess Eugenie's wedding in October 2018. During Meghan's labor, Harry used a canister of laughing gas to stay calm. He also talked about Meghan's miscarriage in 2020, after which they left the hospital with their unborn child and buried it in a secret place under a banyan tree. The memoir also details a confrontation between Harry and William at Nottingham Cottage in 2019. William, who came to discuss their strained relationship, reportedly criticized Meghan as difficult, rude, and abrasive. Harry dismissed these comments as repeating press narratives. During their argument, William allegedly grabbed Harry by the collar, broke his necklace, and knocked him to the floor, causing Harry to land on a dog bowl that broke and cut him. Harry did not retaliate, and William later looked regretful and apologized. Harry called his therapist after the incident, and Meghan was deeply upset when she found out. Harry reveals that his father, Charles, questioned whether Meghan wanted to continue her acting career since they did not have much money. Charles supported Harry and Meghan until they left the UK, but feared Meghan's popularity might overshadow him. Harry also claims that Charles and Camilla were uncomfortable with the amount of attention William and Kate received. Harry expresses surprise at losing his state-funded security after stepping back from royal duties, especially since his uncle Andrew, who faced serious allegations, retained his security. He criticizes the Sandringham Summit, alleging it was manipulated by royal household officials he refers to as the Bee, the Wasp, and the Fly, who he claims used underhanded tactics to consolidate power. Finally, Harry described a tense meeting with Charles and William after Prince Philip's funeral in April 2021, during which Charles pleaded, "Please, boys, don't make my final years a misery." Harry refers to William as his dear brother and arch-nemesis. During a walk, William questioned why Harry hadn't raised his concerns within the institution sooner, and suggested he takes his complaints about the Queen. Although William later told Harry he loved him and wanted him to be happy, Harry admits he didn't believe his brother's words. Harry and Meghan tell, all interview. The revelations surrounding Prince Harry have continued to captivate the world, especially since his decision to step back from royal duties in 2020. The events that unfolded afterward have only added to the intrigue. Although Prince Harry and his wife, the Duchess of Sussex, have distanced themselves from their official roles, they have certainly not stepped away from the spotlight. Following the release of his book, a revealing interview provided even more insights into the royal family dynamics. What did Prince Harry reveal in the interview that he had not already said in his book? What was the royal family's reaction to this? During the interview, Prince Harry discussed a particularly contentious meeting with his brother Prince William in 2021. Reflecting on the encounter, Harry described his brother's familiar scowl, which he had always noticed in their interactions, and mentioned the noticeable changes in William's appearance, including his advancing baldness and the fading resemblance to their mother. Harry clarified that his observations were not meant to be hurtful, but rather to provide a fuller picture of their relationship and the circumstances they faced growing up. He emphasized that the tension between them had been building for years, long before his wife entered the picture, countering the narrative that she was responsible for their strained relationship. The world had watched Harry and William grow up, often perceiving them as inseparable. However, as Harry's book reveals, their lives diverged significantly after the death of their mother. Even when they attended the same school, the bond between them was not as close as it seemed. William had once asked Harry to pretend they didn't know each other while at school, a request that deeply hurt Harry at the time. Despite both losing their mother, Prince Harry and Prince William coped with her death in different ways. William tried to talk to Harry about their mother, but Harry, still a child, found it difficult to engage. It wasn't that he didn't want to, he simply didn't know how to process his emotions or discuss them. He never realized that talking about it might have helped him heal. Harry recalls the night of August 31st, 1997, when he was just 12 years old and on vacation in Scotland with his family. His father, Prince Charles, woke him up to tell him the devastating news of Princess Diana's death in a car crash in Paris. Shocked and unable to fully grasp what had happened, Harry did not cry. He remembers that Charles did not offer a hug, showing emotion was not his strength, but placed a hand on Harry's knee and assured him everything would eventually be okay, even though it wasn't for a long time. Harry's memories of the days following Diana's death are hazy, but he vividly recalls greeting mourners outside Kensington Palace the day before the funeral. He describes the experience as surreal, feeling guilty for smiling in front of mourners who showed more emotion than he, and William did. The wetness of the mourners' tears on their hands, and the act of taking flowers from the grieving crowd and placing them with other tributes made Harry feel like a middleman for their grief. The funeral, held on a cool September morning, was watched by an estimated 2.5 billion people worldwide. One of the most iconic moments was when Harry and William walked behind their mother's casket to Westminster Abbey. Harry remembers the silence of that walk, broken only by the sounds of horse hooves, the creaking of bridles, the wheels of the gun carriage, and the crunch of gravel. It wasn't until Princess Diana's coffin was lowered into the ground at Althorpe, the Spencer family estate, that Harry cried for the first time since her death. During his teenage years, Harry struggled to cry or fully accept that Diana was gone. He could not believe that his mother would leave them like this, and even wondered if her death was part of a larger plan. For years, Harry held on to the hope that Diana had decided to disappear for a while and would one day return. When Harry introduced Meghan Markle to the family in 2016, Charles initially liked her, but William was skeptical, dismissing her as just an American actress. Other family members were also uneasy from the start. Even before getting to know Meghan, the British press quickly seized on this unease and amplified it, creating a media frenzy. The mistrust surrounding Meghan Markle, as Prince Harry revealed, was influenced by several factors. She is American, an actress, divorced, and biracial with a black mother. These aspects made her a target for negative media coverage, which also affected her relationship with the royal family. Harry's family regularly saw tabloids, and while they might not have openly admitted it, this constant exposure influenced their views. There was speculation within the family and media that Meghan had somehow changed Harry, with some even suggesting she had manipulated him. However, Harry saw these changes positively, feeling that he had found true love and was ready to build a family, moving away from his previous lifestyle of partying and drug use. To this day, he lives away from his family. Well, that's it for today. Let us know in the comments below what shocked you the most. Do you think Diana's death was caused by something sinister? And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this.